Welcome to round 7 of the Ultimate Mobile Racing League. This time we go to Sao Paulo, already in the middle of the season. But this title fight is heating up more and more. Last time out, Williams managed to win with both cars even, and they have a chance to wrap up the team's championship around here. For the first time, they would become the earliest champions ever. Laguna and Krosnet have been exactly tied across the line last time out. An incredible race at Barcelona. And this time it might repeat. Sao Paulo always delivering amazing races, especially if there is a 25% chance of rain. For the Grand Prix, now in qualifying, it is still a sunny Sunday afternoon as always. And we are here in qualifying. You can see many Majus in the graphic to the left of your screen. That's because of the tribute names that we have given ourselves to say goodbye to Majumdar, who has retired from being a main driver at least. He's still remaining as the UMRL organizer, one of the organizers, and of course the team owner of S25M. And who has now gone to provisional pole? That is Justin. He's not only giving a tribute to Maju, but also to Flak here. So that's a very complicated name. But of course, let's not forget Flak, who's also, I think, stopped doing any organizing stuff for the moment. I think that's a bit longer ago now. And now Krosnet has gone to pole position. Of course he has. 5 poles in 6 races this season so far for the Spaniard. None for Laguna so far, who is now beaten the time from his teammate though. And that by over 1/10 of a second. Last time Laguna only qualified in P5. Had to do a bit of a comeback. And we get Senna, this time returning to racing, but this time for S25M. He is left one time after he, I think, even was the owner for a bit at one time. That team has a lot of struggles right now. With Senna now racing for Majumdar as well. And he's currently in P3, tied with Krosnet's time. And we got Phoenix once again in P4. Already had an amazing qualifying at Shanghai. Justin now down to P5. The Nitro 6th. He was on the front row last time out at Barcelona. Then Guillermo in 7th for Etruria Racing Team. And Piggy in 9th place. Let's see who is gonna improve their time now. Krosnet does not improve. 1/10 of his best time. Laguna still clear of the rest here. Where is he? F1 fan kind of making a mistake in the one time here. He's still racing despite also having kind of retired now. Now Laguna is gonna come across the line. We haven't seen his lap. Is it a good one? Oh, yes it is. But he just misses out on improving his time. It still would have been enough. And he's on pole position for the first time in the autumn 2025 season. Krosnet manages to line up on the front row for the race. And Senna in 3rd, ahead of Nitro, is also improved still, going ahead of Phoenix. Nearly nothing between our championship rivals from Spain as they lock out the front row. Senna for S25M, not for Aston Martin, qualifies 3rd on the grid at home, looking for a better race than his debut last season around here. Then it's 4th for Nitro, that's where he finished in the last race. Phoenix was just 1/100 of a second behind Senna and Nitro. Justin, first of the Etrurias, in 6th place. Jarizon racing again, starting in 7th. Piggy P8 racing for his own team, MP Motorsport, ahead of Guillermo in the Etruria Racing Team, and Matt in the 2nd MP. Lozi and Fede in row 6 for APA. It was close between them and Toaster and Huenvi, doing it smooth, half a second off in P15. And then what's gotta be the worst qualifying ever for our reigning champion F1 fan, who's also no longer that invested, but he's doing very well on PC now as well. As always, we got softs, mediums and hards in the dry, 8 to 12 laps for the soft tires, 10 to 15 for the mediums and 13 to 17 on the hards. But we might as well see the inters and wets be necessary with rain on the radar. We're ready for the 5th race at Interlagos in the Ultimate Mobile Racing League, with both of the Williams lining up on the front row, picking the medium tires, and we are on the way going into the first corner. Krasnit immediately trying to go to the outside and get a good run towards turn 4. Is that going to work out for the Spaniard? Laguno is going to keep the lead, heading into the Cida del Lago, but going out of it, we might already be a different story. No, Laguno fends off the first attack. Then we got Senna ahead of Nitro, Flack, that's Justin in the Etruria Racing team, trying to get alongside but doesn't. It's quite an even start for our top 5 here. Krasnit is getting closer in the slipstream of Laguna. To the first corner we go. We see Phoenix and Piggy going wheel to wheel in the top right corner of the screen, and Phoenix goes up into P6. Actually lost the position off the start though, but it is still looking like the best race of Aston Martin this season since the Japanese Grand Prix. It's the two Williams, then Nitro, who's made up one spot off the start, but he had to defend from Justin, who's also had a lightning start here. And Senna now trying to go up the inside, trying to reclaim his positions in the S25M, his debut race for the purple team here. Lots of different teams actually, also Matt in the MP Motorsport. Very high up this time. He sadly had to retire from the Spanish Grand Prix then. The Williams still closely together, making me kind of anxious to miss some moves here. But let's look further down for the moment. Nitro is losing ground and now goes onto the grass. And Phoenix is past. Now Piggy is in P8. He's in the soft tires. Barely anyone has picked the hard tires. Then Huenvi in P10. And it was very close between Krasnit and Laguna again in the first turn. 13.5 points is the gap between them now after their tie from last race. Krasnit got 2 extra points for pole position. This time Laguna got them, so I think the gap should actually be 11.5. And Phoenix for the moment has gone up into the podium place. All this here is for 3rd position on the road. And Senna getting a massive slipstream. Matt doing so as well. Phoenix and Justin go a bit wide. Now Matt is sent onto the grass in the Curva do Sol. Gets a terrible exit then onto the straight, and Huenvi also goes past. He has really lost the chance to fight for the podium for now. Oh, and again, getting 2 cars onto the grass there. Phoenix benefiting off that. And Justin now in 3rd position. Our only winner not coming from Williams this season. Winning at the British Grand Prix, of course. Ahead of his teammate Sigma Bob. This time Guillermo is his teammate. What a lineup for a Etruria Racing team. And Piggy's kind of being squeezed there as well in turn 4 and losing many positions. There's 2 big clusters of cars here that are scrapping for the podium and P7, that is. And now the smooth Magirator is leading that pack in the other Aston Martin. Krasnit is in the draft towards the Cida del Lago. Laguna keeping everything under control right now. They are on the same strategy. Oh, and now Krasnit with a major mistake here, losing a lot of time as he goes through the grass in the entire section of turn 9 there. And that leaves him with a 1.3 disadvantage down. Big front stretch here. Let's see if there's any moves being made. Maybe back here with Matt, who of course now lost ground and is only in P9 behind Toaster. Opportunistic stuff from Toaster to try and go around the outside there. He still stays in the fight for P7. And now Toaster really turning in very sharply, trying to pull alongside, losing a bit of momentum there. And it almost worked out, and he can still keep the fight going, I wanted to say, but now he goes into the pit lane as one of the first drivers in this race. I want to think there's been an incident between Phoenix and Senna, as Senna has really been going from left to right across the track there. Maybe he was forced onto the grass. Tried to return to the track. And now Nitro has been pushed off by Senna. Senna made his debut last season around Sao Paulo. Of course, he's then taken 3 podiums in a row this season. Only at China he raced and didn't get a podium last time he was missing. But it seems like there is very tough competition for him now. Oh, and I think he has pitted. No, he's actually made another mistake, as it seems. 0 stops in 10th position. It's not looking good for Senna at all in his debut race for S25M. And here's Gyrosan racing for Hurricane Racing Team. He's now a main driver of them. Sanis' contract has been cancelled after the mid-season break because of inactivity. And Gyrosan is actually been racing for quite some time in this league as well. He's taken 1 pole position even back in the winter season around Monza. That was the last race victory for Piggy as well. Now we're on lap 11 here. Is any of the Williams blinking first and going into the pit lane? I don't know. They are separated by 2 seconds, so someone might actually go for a different strategy this time. We've seen them many times just go for the same strategy and trying to do it like that. Justin is now pitted from P3, I think, and has only gone down to 4th, so it's looking really good. Guillermo is just behind him. That's his teammate who really won't want to attack the Flying Dutchman in front of him, but maybe defending with the aid of the slipstream. And also Phoenix behind them, who's now pitted. And Fonfen, who started down in last position. Terrible qualifying for him, the only one to go above 33 seconds, or to stay above 33 seconds in qualifying. And he's now up to 6th. As almost everyone is pitted, only some drivers towards the very front. Guillermo, of course, is going to fall a bit behind. Now Krosnet is going for the undercut on his teammate. The championship leader is going to get a fresh set of tires at the very end of the pit lane here. It is mediums again on lap 13 out of 35, the mediums. Last 10 to 15 laps around here, so it was actually a pretty long stint already. Laguno even going longer. That's some huge drifting that he is doing through this section. And now, have I seen that correctly? I didn't exactly see what weather is going to come up now, because there was the message the Magenta left the lobby. Okay, it is dry tires, so everything is alright for the people behind Laguno. Otherwise it would have been a big advantage, because Krosnet would have had to pit again for the wets. But everything is looking good for Laguno still. He had lots of struggles with his tire wear on that in-lap as it looked. But still, it is a 1 second gap at least between him and his championship rival. He's even having to fight with Justin in this phase of the race, and he's there on merit. A bit older tires, but of course in the slipstream, and that is a real threat to Krosnet now. Is he gonna get into P2 here, Justin? He certainly does have a chance. He just doesn't take it yet. Krosnet just got caught up on the grass again a little bit. Further down we see Phoenix still up in 4th place in the Aston. It would be a sensational result for both him and his team. Nitro in 5th position. F1 fan in 6th. That's Frankie leaving the game, but he's not racing today. Smooth in 7th. Toaster, Majumdar and Piggy. Look at this battle here for 8th position. Guillermo going around the outside of Senna, even though he was very much off the track here. Then Huanvi going very wide, trying to defend from Piggy. And that's all chaos now happening in the favor of S25M, as it seems. With Senna still down in 8th, I have to say, from 3rd on the grid. And his teammate Huanvi also right behind him. And S25M now really helping together, trying to tame this huge melee that's going on behind them. Piggy in the middle of Losey and Guillermo here, but Losey doing the switchback. Can he now sweep in Ferradura? No, he can't. Actually falls back behind Guillermo in the Etruria also. Justin's tires are wearing off a bit. He's still close to Crossnet. Don't think that he really wants to interfere with that title fight. He's happy where he is right now. Just going for that podium, and it's looking really good since the first phase of pit stops. Yeah, he might return on to the rostrum this time. And Crossnet now, though, having to cover off the inside. I think Justin will be happy with that. Maybe going for the move now into turn 4. Although he still just stays patient. And now he pulls alongside and actually goes ahead. He finds the gap in turn 4 and goes past Crossnet without much effort. Losing minimal time. But gaining 1 spot here. Now heavy rain is announced around Sao Paulo. Laguna just about gets into the pit lane in time, and the rain's gonna hit the track quite quickly here because we're already in the cloudy weather. You can see it to the top of your screen. The drivers also really have to be careful not to suddenly start drifting, but everyone seems to be on the front stretch already and goes for the wet tires. Is there anyone going for inters? Yes, Guillermo further back, just hoping that the rain is gonna settle down very soon, and it seems like it does. But that has neutralized all strategies for now. Maybe also an advantage for Justin, who is now trying to pull alongside Crossnet again, who covers off the inside, knowing that this will compromise his racing line. He goes to the right and really does get a good exit now out of the Curva do Sol. Still, Justin is pulling alongside, not leaving an inch unused in the racing line either. Oh, that was a bit too wide maybe even from Justin. It's difficult to judge these corners in the infield. You can go wider than the track limits tell you in real life. And now Justin is also once again gone through in the last real corner of that racetrack. Crossnet down to 3rd. Laguna didn't really have the upper hand against Crossnet that much. Yeah, pretty much ever this season. Of course, we had the fantastic last first challenge by by Laguna around Portimao, where he probably was the quicker man on paper, but we didn't really see how much of a gap he could have had if he had qualified. Now we see at least a 3-second gap between him and Justin. And both Aston Martins actually very high up in P5 and P6. Now out of Jinsao we go again. Crossnet also really staying patient here. He knows that he is in the championship lead. He knows that it's only 3 points of a difference. Is that what he thinks? I think he's still desperate to get many points if he can. And now he's passed again. And Justin makes a mistake in the infield too. That's the best case scenario now for Crossnet. Up to P2 again. Williams 1-2. Is there going to be any change in their order again? It is going to be a difficult task for Laguna, for Crossnet, who opts for the slick tires on the end of lap 25. As does Justin. Laguna is still out there on the wets, and look at him, really struggling to keep it on the road in the infield now. Oh, a big drift through turn 10, and now going really wide to still get the car flat out in that final corner. And now let's see where he's gonna come out. Crossnet already charging down towards the line here up the hill, and into the Senna S we go. Laguna in the pit lane, crossing it on the racetrack, trying to get ahead of his teammate, but he doesn't. But the gap has come down. It was at 3 seconds, higher than it has been this race. But that's gone out of the window. The two Spaniards now maybe really coming close again at the end of the race. Oh, Laguna really leaving no space unused there. Just trying to reduce the distance on the main straight, but both of the Williams have kicked up some grass here. Croston is coming very close, heading down the retro poster here. And now we are right where we have been at Barcelona again. It might turn into another photo finish between our two contenders. Oh, that's just a bit of connection issues maybe. Laguna once again seems to kick up some grass, but he doesn't really lose any speed. But Krosner has come very close through the Senna S on the last lap and still maintaining his pace. Not so much the same can be said for Justin. He's still in third, but now nowhere near Krosnet, who is now himself picking up the slipstream of his teammate, of course. And maybe sizing up a move once again. Is he gonna decide to do it into turn 1 or into the follow-up on the back straight into turn 4? Or maybe still staying patient. Laguno definitely feeling the pressure, covering off the inside very early on the straight, trying to break the toe and deny Krasnodar an option on the inside. And Senna has left the race. I haven't exactly seen where he's been in these last few laps, but it's been one of the worst races of his season so far. His rookie rival, as I like to call it, Justin in P3, then Nitro in 4th, and then it's Smooth. Phoenix has also gone down to P13, and it looks like he has left the race. That is very sad to see. Phoenix has had some connection issues in UMRL especially this season. Oh, and now we have to look at the Williams. Krasnet getting incredibly close. Both finding a breaking point for the first corner and not compromising their run towards turn 4 either. This is the peak of top-down racing on mobile. Laguna and Krasnet. Probably the best lineup that any single team has ever had. As I said, Nikhil managed to get P1 and P1 out of them last time out at Barcelona. Is it gonna be the same again? It's possible that it is gonna be very, very close again at the very least. But as it was last time, Laguna having the upper hand in these last few laps. But both of their soft tires getting very old here. Only Nitro at the front has gone for, yeah, maybe the safer but slower option on the mediums. He's in 4th place, not really much that can be done from his side anymore. Laguno is defending again down the retroposter. Krasnet just doing the same line. We have 2 laps to go in this race. Krasnet is once again just probably trying to get that final run in the slipstream and take away the lead. But now the gap is kind of increased. The bigger slipstream this season is still going to help Krasnet to close up again maybe. But we have half a second between our two Williams as we go onto the final lap of this race. Turn 4 is waiting as the final opportunity before the run towards the line. And in the infield, it's also very difficult not to make a mistake here on the soft tires. These are the best drivers that the Ultimate Mobile Racing League has ever had to offer though, and that's why they don't make a mistake, but that's also why it's gonna stay as it's been, and we see Laguno finally winning again. Laguno wins the Sao Paulo Grand Prix, Krasnet making the most out of it behind that and finishing in second place. Another 1-2. 7 1-2s in 7 races this season, and 6 of them for Williams. Justin in P3, so I think he still denies Williams of winning the championship this time. It was still only 0.4 of a second splitting the top two. It is the peak of hard but fair racing from UMRL's history to this point. Nitro takes his second consecutive 4th place finish, but Justin was out of reach for the others behind him at the end of the first stint already. Smooth 55 comes home in P5, his best ever finish, and Aston Martin finally score some bigger points again, including the fastest lap. Piggy takes P6 after he took 5th place last time out. It's also a good result for him. And I think the same goes for Guillermo in 7th place, helping out his beloved Etruria team to hang on to their little title hopes for a bit longer. Tosu is still having a pretty quiet season, but he's found some consistency higher up in the points. Losey, who's been racing for the 3rd time this season, scores some points for APA Racing Team. Then it's Matt in 10th, and Pierre still not scoring big points, but consistent points. F1 fan, after a great comeback in the early stages, has fallen behind a bit again, and Jarizan scores 1 point for HRT, which now seem to be struggling a bit more again. It is 0 points for S25M on the day that everyone paid tribute to Majumdar, a double DNF for the French outfit. Also very disappointing DNF for Phoenix. And then it's Fede, who I didn't get to mention yet. He actually announced his retirement as well, but he still raced as an emergency reserve for his own team. But then he was the first one again to retire from this race. And so it's been 7 points of a swing today in favor of Laguno. Krosnet still leading him by 6.5 points as we go on to the Turkish Grand Prix. Justin looking very lonely on his 90 points. Senna and Sigma Bob still sit in 4th and 5th, even though neither has scored points in the last 2 rounds. And look at the fight for 4th in the championship, going all the way down to 10th place to Piggy. Elcrack is just a point behind Sigma Bob with only 3 races. Then Guillermo a point behind his Italian teammate. And Nitro with 2 great results in a row ahead of the reigning champion and the Autumn 2024 champion, who rounds out our top 10. Etruria still clinging on at the end of this race, but as you can see, the chances are not very high that anybody is still going to be in contention for the team's championship after the next race. One Time are still in 3rd place despite their lack of points. At the last 3 races, Minardi snatching some away from them, and suddenly the new team finds itself in 4th place. And S25M now drops to last. The last team is going to have to leave the Ultimate Mobile Racing League. Either way, I believe that it's going to be a big name to be thrown out of the top tier. 6.5 points between our top 2 in the standings as we head on to the Turkish Grand Prix for the first time in the Ultimate Mobile Racing League. Don't miss our showdown at Istanbul next time.